The Ark really is something lovely. It's beautiful. Look at this architecture. Absolutely foreign to RuneScape's usual artistic theme, but it still feels like RuneScape. They've even got chickens, but they're not called chickens. They're pekins. What's a pekin? It's a chicken. Originally from China. But you see, Jagex could have made it a boring old RuneScape chicken, yet the developers wanted to make sure everything was unique to the Ark. Even the lore is unique without being completely detached from RuneScape as a whole. And today, we're gonna explore some of that lore by doing the Ark mini-quest series. We've already completed Impressing the Locals ages ago. It's a short quest that introduces the players to the Ark and introduces a pirate, Jed, who kidnapped a bunch of people from the Port Sarim jail. You can do these quests at any time, however, the mini-quests have some pretty steep requirements, so you're left with a bit of a cliffhanger. We did Flagfall a while ago as well, just so we could travel to the Uncharted Islands and claim one. Claiming an island allows you to return to it whenever you want at a reduced supply cost. Don't worry about it right now, we're not dealing with Uncharted Islands, just Uncharted Islands or something else. We'll come to that at a later date. If I'm honest, I think Jagex should just merge all of these mini-quests into one big quest. Sure, the requirements are pretty high, basically 90 plus in most of the player-owned port skills, but it's not like that's too big of an ask for questers. Oh well. The islands in the Ark are sentient and have these little moai heads we can talk to. They're kind of similar to those mysterious statues in places like Karanja or Sears Village, or those Elder God mouthpieces we met during Heart of Stone. Waiko's wife, Amanishi, hasn't been responding to his calls. Yeah, the islands are also telepathic. For whatever reason, the mental link between the two has been severed, so we need to figure out a way to move the Amanishi moai to Waiko. Easier said than done. Not only are moai heavy, which Amanishi takes offense to when you point it out, but removing a moai from its island is deadly. First, we need movers. Weihanju trades the time of a couple Cyclops laborers for 15 fish oil, a modest fee, I suppose. Next, we need a transport method. Sea Witch Kaula, remember her, tells us a story about a moai that wanted to see the ocean, and so it had the people living on the island craft a bamboo basket and fill it with the island's soil. This allowed the moai to be moved around the island without dying. That's pretty important. The tide did end up overcoming him and washing away a bunch of the soil, and he died. What's a cautionary tale without some tragedy, right? My theory is that the moai from the story is the same moai that we can fight in the Shadow Reef, Honto. The island of Honto is in the Skulls region, so we don't know what's going on there. Maybe we'll find out if Jagex ever expands the Eastern Lands to include more regions than just the Ark, but at this rate, I doubt it. With Amanishi soil and some bamboo, we have Rosie make us the basket. We return to Amanishi, the island, and conveniently there's a Cyclops captain hanging around on the shore who owns a freight ship just large enough to transport the moai. Fates have smiled upon us. There can't be anything suspicious about this. For a nominal fee of 300 chimes, we charter his ship and make our way back to Waiko with the Amanishi moai. But turns out the captain, Akahi, owes his life to the pirate Jed. Curse his inevitable betrayal. Even the Cyclops laborers we hired turned on us. Thankfully, we're the main characters, so we win the fight and Akahi gives up. We spare his life and he takes us to Waiko as promised. And just like that, the island moai are reunited. And the Amanishi moai is a bit disappointed in Waiko's looks, which stings because somehow these are another RuneScape thing that looks like me. The assassin, Ling, is on the island of Amanishi and she asks for our help. If you don't know who she is, she's the player-owned port's adventurer who shows up after you get 90 Slayer. She wants us to locate a person by the name Yu Long, a former Death Lotus trainee who is exiled for setting fire to the Pearl Fortress. She has reason to believe he is hiding among the acolytes of Seiryu. Since the monks on the island have taken a vow of silence, the only way to get information from them is through murder. Fortunately, I'm a murder hobo, so that's not a problem. The monks are all about dying anyway, reincarnation or whatever. We kill a bunch of them until we get 3 books, the rarest of which has a 1 in 64 drop rate, which is kind of ridiculous for a mini quest. And then we tell Ling what we've learned. With some dragon charms in our inventory, which we collected while killing the monks, because what's theirs is now ours because they're dead. And what's the point of killing someone if you're not going to take their stuff? We enter the Amanishi spirit realm and find Yu Long just mindlessly standing around on the beach like he was an NPC in a video game waiting for the protagonist to show up. Whoa. We have a chat with him, and promise not to reveal his location to Ling. He seems to be a genuine guy, so I ruin his day. After informing the assassin that Yu Long's become a monk, she reveals that she wasn't actually here to kill him, just berate him for not keeping in touch. Oh, how sweet. It's about time we track down Jed and rescue the prisoners he kidnapped and imprisoned so we can put them back in prison. First, Akahi won't receive his next marching orders until Jed learns of our death. Since Yu Han-jun is one of Jed's informants, Akahi pretends to kill us in front of her, and she believes it even though our character model stands up immediately afterwards. Let's ignore that. Next, Bosun Higgs needs some new gear because she's afraid of being recognized by the Kintra since she's AWOL. So Jobo, the Ark's local Tengu, offers us some gear in exchange for killing a few Gu Ronin on uncharted islands. It'd be nice if we could do that again and get our own Tetsu armor and dual katanas, but alas, we cannot. Navigator Jemmy wants us to get the help of the Thalassus. Remember the Thalassus? That's a tongue twister for me. It was that monster fish we tried killing during the Deadliest Catch. Hopefully it doesn't remember us. We ask Sea Witch Kaula to reach out to the Thalassus for us, which she does, and opens up a line of communication between it and Jemmy. Lucky for us, the Thotefef is pissed off, but not at us, and agrees to help us confront Jed. Finally, Gully tells us to make the ship more buoyant so it can carry the extra prisoners. Rosie gives us the supplies in exchange for some driftwood, a Taijitu, and 5 seashells to add to her collection. Also, she wants us to tell Gully to stop being such a weirdo around her and just talk to her. With Akahi having learned the rendezvous location, we head out to the open water to confront Jed and rescue the prisoners. His plan was to sell them all as slaves to the Harbinger, the infamous ship of Goshima. Worst of all, Bosun Higgs' brother was already sold to the Khan of Goshima. Seeing that he's been bested, Jed decides it'd be easier to survive marooned on a desert island than to return to the Harbinger empty-handed, so he jumps overboard into the maw of the Thalassus. Oops. But we do free the prisoners and take them back to prison. On the island of Cyclosis, an island of, unsurprisingly, a bunch of Cyclopes, I'm not going to say Cyclopes, I'm just going to say Cyclopses, because Cyclopes just sounds dumb. Anyway, we meet the island's Khan, Ichi, who's been having to deal with the frequent disappearances of the island's citizens. Every morning they learn someone new has gone missing during the night. At night, a bunch of Cyclopses, zombie Cyclopses, have been attacking the island. Somehow no one noticed them. After defending the island through the night, we devise a plan to protect the citizens by using blessed salt to ward off evil spirits. The ever-brilliant gold mask blesses our salt, and we spread it about. The following night, we discover far on the northeastern part of the island an undead Jed. Somehow, the Harbinger found him and resurrected him into unlife. He's been feeding off the souls of the dead Cyclopses, causing them to return from the dead and kidnap living Cyclopses to further sustain him. He even tries to siphon away Akahi's soul, and that's when the fight begins. Oh, well, that's that. Problem solved. Moving on. Whatever Jed did when trying to steal Akahi's soul left a mark on the poor Cyclops. He's become pale and incredibly hungry, like he's slowly turning into a Cyclops himself. I feel like that's obvious. Jemmy suggests we go to 2i Late because the locals there may know of a cure. But on our way there, we're attacked by the Harbinger. It harpoons our ship, locking us in place so that the captain of the Harbinger can come down and taunt us as villains are wont to do. She demands we turn over Akahi, but we're a crew. A crew is a family, and family means no one gets left behind. After a touching reveal that Gully and the captain of the Harbinger, Korra, know each other, Korra vampire teleports away and begins the assault on our ship. All it takes is a few hammer smacks to the deck and we're able to survive long enough to pry the harpoons loose and get away. In an attempt to find a cure, we come to 2i Late to speak to Jemmy's old teacher, Sensei Hakase. He tells us that the gnome Cherry can mix a curative drink out of 30 rum berries. It's apparently a cure-all, and it just so happens to work as well as real-life cure-alls. That is, not at all. Instead, we're directed to the island's Moai, who suggests that the affliction must be spiritual in nature if just one singular physical cure didn't work. Alright. Since we know a guy who hangs out in the spirit realm, we head to Amanishi and have a chat with Yulong. He tells us Akahi's chi is out of balance. In exchange for 30 positive energy, he infuses us with positive chi, which we then pass on to Akahi. But it doesn't work and leaves him in an even worse state. Sensei Seaworth tells us it must be a mystical issue, which is apparently different than spiritual. He points us to the Tengu on Waiko. Sojobo tells us that Akahi isn't a victim of standard zombieism, but advanced zombieism caused by a Jiangshi, a vampire-like creature inspired by the real-life creature from Eastern folklore by the same name, but pronounced correctly. Did you know that the design of Chaozu from Dragon Ball is based on the Jiangshi? Not relevant, but I thought I'd share. Anyway, the only cure is to either kill Akahi, which kinda defeats the purpose of a cure, or have the one who cursed him remove the curse willingly. Things aren't looking good for him. Quartermaster Gully wants to know what happened to Cora that led her down this cruel path. There was a time that she was his wife, but when her father took the family on a trip to Tuilet, they were attacked by pirates. Her parents were killed, and she was brought to the Skulls Pirates Fort on the islands that once were turtles as a slave. Years later, Gully managed to negotiate with the pirates to buy his wife's freedom, but on the day of the deal, the pirates told him that Cora had died during a failed escape attempt. They stole his money, stole his eye, and left him for dead. On the island, we come across several skeletons who are somehow able to speak with us. They reveal that they were once Skulls pirates, but one day a woman came to their camp and cursed them with eternal life. They did die, but their minds remained within their lifeless corpses, frozen in place with nothing to do but be alone with their own thoughts. Quite the cruel punishment, but hey, that's what you get for being a slaver. Unsurprisingly, it was Cora who did this after she became the lieutenant of the Khan of Goshima. Higgs reminds us that Jed left her brother on Goshima, so that's where we're heading. Rosie gives us supplies to repair our ship, but she's unable to sell us cannons. Much as Rosie likes to turn a profit, she prefers to keep her business within the bounds of local law. How boring. So instead we go to Goshima to collect scraps left behind in abandoned settlements and shipwrecks to see if we can cobble together our own cannon. But on the beach, there roams a malignant entity, a Jiangshi. So we must be careful to avoid it. Getting too close feels like someone's sucking your soul out. You know, you lose the ability to run, then lose the ability to pray, and then you start dying. The three facets of the soul: living, praying, and running. It's the Trinity, right? What's happening? This is so stupid. Can I blade a dive? Oh my god. Am I stuck like this? Am I sitting down forever? This is so silly. Oh man. Ruined it. We also find a note left behind by Higgs's brother Jacob. That's convenient. It says he sailed further east to the Skulls region. He tells Higgs to give up and go home, but Higgs is a stubborn one and decides to remain part of our crew. Final Destination, a movie series that gave everyone a reasonable fear of trucks carrying logs on a highway, and also the last mini-quest in the Ark Quest series. It's time to confront the Harbinger from an advantageous position. We blow a hole in its hull with our newly acquired cannons, board the ship, and just start killing. Pretty much anything that moves. We kill until we make our way up to Captain Cora, who's piloting the ship for some reason. Captains don't man the helm. That's the job for the helmsman, right? I'm not a boat guy, but I'm pretty sure captains aren't the ones with their hands on the wheel. Whatever. We beat up this lady until she shouts the MMO safe word enough, and we stop. She reveals that the malignant entity on Goshima, the Jiangshi, is not just some monster Cora created, but is Cora's Khan, the Khan of Goshima. Cora couldn't just let her die because the Khan had no heir, and also she was like a mother to Cora, so she used necromancy to turn the Khan into a Jiangshi. The job of the Harbinger, Cora says, was to collect people to feed to the Jiangshi so that her curse would remain contained on Goshima. The goal was to feed the Khan just enough so she can carry on as Khan, but Cora didn't realize how ravenous the Khan had become, having wiped out everyone on Goshima. We go to Goshima with Cora, and after a few attempts at denial and rationalizing, she accepts that the Khan of Goshima wouldn't want to continue on like this, as a monster. So Cora says her goodbyes and releases the Khan. So what new adventures can we go on with Akahi cured? Well, none, really. Jagex never did anything else with the Ark, at least not narrative-wise. There's still plenty of content and unlocks, some good training methods, and a long grind for a title. Salty. A big portion of the grind involves gathering enough chimes to buy a bunch of unlocks and equipment from Bonnie on Waiko, and gathering charms ultimately boils down to making shark soups. I don't think I'm going to devote an entire episode to Ark grinding, but I'll definitely talk about it at a later point should I start getting closer to unlocking the title. For now, I'll just enjoy the Uncharted Island as a here and there place to get some AFK training in. Mine some salt, fish some wobbegongs, pick some mushrooms. Next time we'll be doing something a little different. Well, not that different, it's a quest, Twilight of the Gods. Are you shocked that I did the quest as soon as it came out? What's different is how I'm making the video. Instead of post-commentary, I recorded myself doing the entire quest with live commentary, and I'm gonna trim it down to the interesting bits. I was actually thinking about streaming it, but I was nervous and I didn't think anyone would watch it, so I ended up not. But I do think I will start streaming on Twitch soon. There's a link in the description if you want to follow me. Thanks for watching. Take care.